Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today and finding the time to join us. My name is Razmeen. I'm a success manager with Fourth Rev in partnership with Cambridge. I work solely with the data science learners. And joining us today, we have Sanya Setia, who is one of our alum. Really excited to have you here, Sanya. We will also have Daniel Cairns, who will join us a little later, who is the head of enrollments at Fourth Rev. In the meantime, if I could ask, please make use of the Q&A function. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, any remarks, you may make use of the chat box. Um, and then we will get to your questions at the end of the interview with Sanya. So, firstly, Sanya, it's really, really exciting to see you today. Sanya is a business information analyst at John Lang. Thank you for joining us, Sanya. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Rosmin. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here and talk to future learners. And thank you so much for having me. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. So I think we can get straight into our questions. As all of you know, this is a Ask Me Anything session. So it is an interview. We do have set questions, but like I said, if you have any additional questions outside to what we are asking, put them in the Q&A box, and Daniel and Sanya will get to them at the end. Okay, so the first few questions we're looking at is addressing your experience in this program. So the first question I have for you is, obviously, this is quite a extensive program. There's a lot of technical aspects and so on. How did you or how have you managed to juggle your study time with personal commitments and other commitments that you have?
Sure. At the onset, I'll just introduce what I'm doing right now. So, as Rosmin said, I am working as a business information analyst at John Lang, which is an infrastructure investment firm based in London. Before joining the program, I was a BI developer at a healthcare tech scale up in Cambridge, and my primary motivation was internal, where I felt being in the data field, I was surrounded by AI and new bleeding edge technology, and I wanted to disrupt my workplace using the cutting edge. However, there was a clear skill gap that needed to be filled, much like any other field where if I wanted to learn, I'd go and buy the premium subscription per se. To answer your question, Rosmin, yeah, definitely plan ahead. I had dedicated time slots in my calendar for self study and classes. So this meant that I always completed my goal and I used calendar extensively. And this kept my expectations set, especially for keeping up with social life. It is always easier to squeeze events around my main goal
Mm.
and then to commit to other events. Whereas the other way would be only to realize that I've committed to a social event in life and I missed a class. Whereas I would always keep that as my primary time slot and then squeeze anything around that. Another motivation was to keep expectations set with people in your life, especially family, where they are always, I hope they are there to support you and to let them know that you're going on this 7 month intense program and you would need some time to yourself for learning and growing.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Sanya. And I think that is definitely really good tips, especially for this type of course. So, how practical and applicable do you think is the learning for real world data science scenarios? So, what you've learned, how practical is it?
In terms of practicality, we used a lot of newer models. So at the end of the program, we had using Hugging Face models, using Finbet. Now these are small LLMs, sorry, small language models, which meant that I could create them at my local computer and then create small front-end apps. So definitely very practical from a learning point of view, where I could use them on my own or to apply them to my workplace where it would be cost efficient. So I'm not, the liabilities are low. And that meant that I was directly applying what I was learning. So
Yeah.
there was always in terms of the course, you would always get options to do the project and then make a project of your own or at a workplace. So definitely very practical, very applicable, I would say. because we were
Okay.
using the whatever's latest in terms of machine learning and AI.
That's great. And which aspect of the program did you find to be the most useful for you?
So for myself, the part where I get to talk about and get to learn the latest in artificial intelligence and machine learning, I feel it's hard to catch up. It's you're always playing catch up with
Mm,
AI. So the confidence that working on real and live projects, that confidence that is imbibed in you when you do that, it makes you feel that you are also flowing with the technology rather than being left
mm,
behind. So that was a big aspect for me personally, because coming from STEM subjects, coming from a very logical and technical background, it is it feels criminal to not know what is happening around me. And I think most people are, as humans, we are curious to know the depths of how things are done and how things are made. The second aspect that I found useful was Python programming for myself. I've
yeah.
always felt delved into learning Python. I delved into learning programming. I don't have a programming background. And I never got to the end of it because it's learning a language. You can learn the ABCs, but if you don't talk, it falls. And again, you have to always go back to square one, which is a time waster. And so in this case, we were learning on the go and we were applying on the go, which meant it was always solidifying.
I love that. And then to popcorn of that one, do you then feel you need a lot of prior technical knowledge to succeed in this program? Because obviously our learners are diverse and vast and the experiences vary.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So I do have a very good answer for this, I feel, where yes, you have to know about what's happening, from a
Mm,
surface point of view, which I guess you have already covered that if you're searching for this course. So, a knowledge, maybe not, but a know how of STEM subjects is a definite, I feel, because if you've never been exposed to how STEM subjects work or technical knowledge works, this will come across as very challenging and demanding. Whereas you've had some exposure at any level, that doesn't matter, then the reading of the material, the digesting
mm,
of the material becomes easier. And I feel it's quite useful to compare it to a driving test. Whereas if I'm learning to drive in a new country and I already know how to drive in my country, I only have to focus on learning what's on the road, the new signs, how other people around me, and I don't have to worry about how the car works. Whereas if someone's learning to drive in a new country and also learning to drive altogether, then it would be very unfair to expect them to see the signs when the car keeps stalling. So
yeah.
that way, I think it's a good parallel that you can draw.
I love the analogy as well. Um, so then what new skills or tools do you feel you've gained confidence in through this program?
I'll go back to the fact that I definitely feel more confident in Python programming. I know I can go from a project from start to end. I have also learned a lot about theoretical machine learning and then the application part of it as well. Sometimes it's easier to make sense of theoretical subjects only from a project point of view, whereas
Mm,
other bits are more just theoretical. So, yeah, I feel I've definitely excelled in my machine learning knowledge. I am at a very advanced stage of my Python programming. And another thing that I've learned from this program is collaborative work with other people, which I feel was such a huge part. The cohort is always made up of these extremely talented, extremely experienced, and kind and helpful people, where there is no bad questions. You can always go to your community. There is someone who's there to help. So that not only builds your network, but also how you work in a collaborative environment without it
Mm.
being like without it being overbearing. So you're not going alone. So, which is very important for any aspect. Like if you're
Yeah.
doing a job, if you're making your own company, you always need to know how to work with people. So those three are my primary things that I've taken from this program.
I love that. And what type of support did you receive, whether it's from your success team, career coaches, your tutors? What kind of support? How did that support look? What did it look like for you?
I feel a simple answer would be I always had an email from either Fourth Rep or University of Cambridge that I had not read, and or a post on Circle that was always there to help us either if there is an incoming event or there is something we
Mm.
need to finish. The career resources were always updating, so if there is a learning week, you'll have something to watch on the career side of things. So from the get-go, yeah, Rosmin, you've been such a big support in our cohort where anything I would just shoot an email and the response rate was very, very prompt. So thank you for that. So career coaches, I was assigned a mentor from the very beginning who really helped me. Sorry, can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, Sanya. It looks like Rosmin froze
Oh, okay.
on the screen. Just give her a second. But yes, thank you. I think you were telling us about your career coach.
Yes. As I was saying, so from the career coach point of view, I was assigned a very definite career coach, a career mentor from the get-go. And this is personal experience, but during the course, I also left my job, my current job, because
Mm.
it wasn't progressing enough. And that was the bit where I felt that I needed a mentor, and they helped me immensely updating my LinkedIn, helping me understand how recruitment in general works. It is a tumultuous environment out there. So it was crucial to have someone from the inside telling me what needs to be done exactly. And as a result of that, I did get placed in a job right after my course. And I would have to say a big part of it, in terms of my CV and my confidence, was having done this course where I knew what I was talking about. I
Mm.
knew data science field in general, and yeah, just a lot of confidence in myself and to have finished
Yeah.
all those projects in a very yeah, pressured environment. So yeah, those things have been quite crucial. I would also like to take a chance to thank all the tutors. Their
Mm.
help was beyond anything I've ever received. You could just shoot them an email, and or you could just get a call with them, and they never made you feel like there is a bad question or what you're asking is too basic, or the general apprehensions we have. And it always felt like I was learning, so I was probably asking way too many questions that were way too simpler, but I never felt that. And I think that was the case across the cohort, where we felt we could just ask them anything and just get on a call and chat through our problems.
Yeah. And I love that. And I think that that aspect of building confidence is key. I think, if I just relay back to the call we had when you told me that you got the job, just like the excitement and just like also the relief you experienced with that, but just the confidence that you had in that moment. It was exciting for us as well as a team. So thank you so much for that support and the compliment. We really just seeing your journey has been amazing for all of us, yeah, at Fourth
Thank
River as
you.
well. Um, what would you say has been your greatest achievement so far?
So far in this course, I think finishing that time series analysis project,
Yeah.
no, but it did get very intense. As you move and as you progress, there are certain expectations that you've been doing your time, you've been working on your homework. So things do get complex because at some point you have to move on from being just a beginner to someone who's an intermediate and then to an advanced stage. So I would say that's my achievement, that even when it came to an advanced stage, I did not feel like I can't do this. I
Yeah.
knew that I had the resources, I had the learnings, I had read about this, I have done a project similar to this, and my achievements were my projects that I was doing week in and week out, because I could always go back to them and see how I approached a problem and how I can solutionize it and make it fit into my new project. So the projects that I've done through this have been my biggest achievement, and just how I finished them. If you, yeah, in retrospect, it does feel such a huge task. Like every week you were learning something new and doing a project on it, which feels, uh, yeah, assignments are hard to do enough, but it did sail through and we did do it. So I'm
Yeah.
very proud. I do go back and look at them and it's like, wow, this is all written by me.
Yeah. You did that. That is all you.
Yeah.
So then what would you say has been like your greatest challenge through the program? And how do you feel from a personal aspect you overcome that challenge?
Right. So my biggest challenge coming into this was just the skill gap.
Okay.
I felt like not having a computer science background really was a mental barrier to me, where I felt someone that knew what's happening behind the compute is already far ahead of me. Whereas I would say that is not the case with this program. Uh, you come in all on the same level to an extent.
Mm,
And the fact that you have the community first, you have the resources, you have the mentors, and you have the coaches, that gap is completely filled. So
okay.
even though someone who's coming with a computer science background and they, as I said, they know what they're doing in terms of coding aspect of it, in terms of logic, they are aware of it. They have a head start, I would say.
Mm,
But because I had all the resources, I never felt like I couldn't just message my mentor or message the community as
mm,
to, I don't understand this, can someone go through this with me? And after a few weeks, or at least after the first program, you are all on the same level, you're all achieving the same things. So that was the biggest challenge coming in, that mental barrier of, oh, I don't know this, or someone else knows more than me. How will
mm.
I ever compete to someone who's done a complete degree in this? Whereas this is more like you start from the base, you build yourself up, and it is extremely, extremely important to do your homework, and consistency is key.
Yeah.
So I would
And
say my
trust the process,
recommendation is
right?
to stay consistent,
Yeah.
keep grinding at it. And if there is a challenge, the best way to finish a challenge is to face the challenge, because when you're doing it, you're not just thinking about it.
I think Sonia, one thing we really appreciate about you specifically is just your approach and like this positivity where you, like you said, it's a challenge, but face the challenge, right? That's
Yeah.
really important to note. Obviously, this is an extremely worthwhile course, right now. But there are a lot of complex um, topics that you've covered. How do you feel or what type of approach did you take to handle those difficult concepts or difficult topics?
So I feel when you know, obviously complexity is subjective. Someone would be
Mm,
more used to some kind of subjects and someone not. So I knew coming into a topic that I don't know this, or this is, after the first read, this is proving to be difficult for me. And that's when the planning begins, where I need to devote more time to it. I
mm,
need to set up, I know that as soon as I hit a problem, instead of going over it, I need to ask for help so that I don't get stuck on something that can be solved quite simply and getting to the crux of the topic. So, yes, planning ahead, knowing what you know, and not being afraid of the topics that you don't know, instead asking for help, or
yeah,
the internet is full of resources, and I don't think anybody will be not utilizing the AI chatbots that we have. And it's
yeah,
all fair. That is part of the program. That is part of our world right now. So I would just say, I think knowing that you're or being aware of and accepting the fact that this is something that's difficult for me, instead of running away, yeah, again, go head on and try to find more resources, and soon it'll be another easy thing that you know, and someone else will reap from your knowledge. So
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing in just learning in general, is you learn as if you're going to teach it to someone, and that way you're when you're learning, you're teaching it to yourself, which is the
Yeah.
best form of learning, where if I can explain it to someone else, I know it, right?
Yeah. You've retained it, right?
Yes.
Do you feel connected to your cohort? Do you feel connected to your fellow data science learners? How do you stay in touch? Do you collaborate with each other? How has that
Yeah,
been
we're
for you?
all still, yeah, I think there are a few enthusiasts among us who really want to keep the group together. You'll always have that. That's the beauty of diversity. You'll have
Yeah.
someone that's more, they know so much, but they don't interact, whereas the other ones are like, let's chat. So we have our group where we talk on a daily basis. We used to talk on a daily basis. It's definitely slowed down now, but it's become like an alumni group now,
Mm,
where we post about what we're doing. We're following each other on LinkedIn. We're helping each other out. I saw a message from someone saying, do this on LinkedIn or don't do that, and kind of
mm,
just pushing each other up to get the best out of this program. And yeah, I think the community has been one of the biggest, I'd say, the treasure trove from this course,
mm,
where I know I can message anyone any day and ask for a favor, or just if they want to grab a coffee in London. I know I'm going to, for my final project, we had a small group of 6 people. I think we are going to catch up soon in London, maybe. So we're all
I love
trying
that.
from as much as we can. But
Yeah.
as I said, it was not, nobody was just placed in a corner. We knew we're all together, and we do push each other to do the best.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned almost leaning on each other's strengths, which is key because the group is so diverse and you all have different strengths. I really like that. So from a career impact side, right, how has this program helped you progress towards your career goals? Obviously, you had specific goals and that's why you enrolled to this course. How has it helped you? Um, what aspects of the course have you used with, career advancement and so on?
Right. So the initial intent of joining the course was, as I said, I was a BI developer, and I could see there is so much more to data, but there was a skill gap that I wanted to fill, and hence I decided to do a program that was backed by a university that's well renowned, and also was long enough to go into the depths of the topic itself. So that was the initial intent of going into the program. My goal from this program was to be able to apply it to my workplace, my ex existing workplace in that time, and I wanted to do it kind of side by side. But as I said, that did not happen, and I still did some projects on my own. In my current work environment, I'm not utilizing it as much, but it did help get me the job, which is which was mainly because I was aware of the industry, and I was aware of what my projects were, which could only happen because I was learning all this while going through the job search. So when someone says, and it is quite common in the data industry, like do as many projects as you can because that helps, and know your project. So that's exactly what happened with me, where I wanted to make that switch, and there's always very little internal motivation to do lots of projects on your own. So this program gave me this immense portfolio of projects on every machine learning topic that I have, and to put up that on my GitHub, to put that on my website, and to be able to showcase that to my new employers. So
Mm,
that was something that happened on its own per se, whereas someone who's not in a setting where they're learning, it would be it would require immense internal motivation to do projects that could seem like mountains, right?
Yeah.
Whereas because I was just doing it as part of my learning, I was building this portfolio, which meant that, yeah, to my new employers, this seemed like a great feat where I had project backings, I had um, already foot in the industry, and that gave me the confidence to talk about my projects. And I was able to make that jump from a scale up to now I'm in London. And I don't know if this is useful, but I did double my monetary benefits, which was quite, I would say, a side quest, but it happened, and I'm quite happy in terms of it because it's such an intense course. Over the
Mm,
course, like 7 months of learning every day, applying it every day, without realizing you're building this skill set of knowledge that tell me one organization that doesn't want someone who knows AI or machine learning.
mm,
There isn't. People who have it want people who know it. People who
yes.
don't want it want people who know it even more. Because from coming from the corporate world, falling behind is just not an option. You just lose out as a company. You lose out if you're not at par with what the competitors are doing. So
Yeah.
it is such an in-demand skill. You can't go wrong, and you're only just building on top of your existing knowledge. So yeah, it did have a huge impact for me in terms of my career.
And I think the monetary aspect is always important to note, Sanya.
I
So
would
thank you
say,
for sharing
okay,
that.
I don't use that because I don't want people incentivized by it to do learning. Learning should
Yes,
come from within. But hey, we're all different, to each their own. If it is an incentive that makes you move, go for it.
100%.
In the pursuit of something that's probably not visible, you always learn things that are more tangible. Like I have such a
Mm,
I'm not using it right now, but I know I have the skill set and I could do it any day. And yeah, that's just such a, it's just from a like a point of view of just a person that likes to learn, that learning and
mm,
gaining knowledge is probably the easiest thing we can do as
yeah,
humans.
definitely. Definitely, Sanya. I think a bit more of a philosophical switch. What do you wish you knew before you started the data science program? Or just looking back, like in hindsight now, what do you wish you knew? You know, you were like you said, you everyone has their own set of skills, experiences, backgrounds. We have very diverse learners. But for you specifically, what do you wish you knew?
I wish I knew the data process. I don't know,
Okay.
that's probably not the right word, but there is so many specialized skills within the industry that
Mm,
you go in with something you wanted to learn and you suddenly realize it's not part of it. And for
yeah.
me, that was not the case because I did want to go in and learn machine learning, but I wish that I knew the entirety of how the industry works. So I would say still do your complete research. If you're more into ML ops, then that's a separate case where you're building front-end apps, you're learning other tech stack tools per se,
Mm,
using Git, using PySpark, using Spark. Um, so that's a different skill set. But as someone who wants to learn these things, definitely do a research on what the bigger picture is. Yeah, I would say I wish I had looked at it from a bird's eye view of where
yeah.
in the process I'm going in. So there is the part where you're just learning to code. There is the part where you're learning a specialized machine learning topic. There's the bit where I'm learning everything there is about machine learning. And then there's the part about building apps and putting them into environment and learning more programming based like
Mm,
CI/CD, things like that. So when you know where you are entering, then you can plan your future in terms of once I have this, my next move is to go into this, or this isn't right for me. So I would say look at it from a bigger picture and do your research. I wish I had done that, but I was too curious and way too, when you are in the situation where you
Yeah,
feel saturated, you go in for whatever's best. And like fortunately, it has turned out the best for me. But yeah, I
yeah.
wouldn't go in without prior knowledge.
And what advice would you give to someone new to data science who is considering this program?
It is going to be intense. It is going to consume a lot of your time, and it is a life-changing experience if you have no background in it, because you'll be thrown into amidst the best of the people, the best of the knowledge there is to offer. So yes, I would say time slots, so definitely more planning around time, and go in with an open mind about learning,
Mm,
and to be able to don't do it for the sake of finishing, do it for the sake of learning something new. And that goes on for everything in life, where if you go in with the mindset of, at the outcome of it, at the end of it, I will have a new skill set, then that's always the mindset that's better, rather than I just want to finish it or just
mm,
have a certificate at the end, because you'll still be at square one.
yeah.
So my recommendation is to prepare well, prepare in advance, know what you're getting into, and go in with the mindset that you're going to come out, learn, like go in with the learning mindset, and you'll come out with a better skill set than you had before.
Okay. And who would you recommend this program to?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I know it's really vague, Sanya, but just like off the top of your head, who do you think you would recommend this to? Because obviously it's a very, I mean, it's a very specific skill set, right?
I would personally recommend it to someone that was in my situation, where I was amidst the tech industry or just
Mm,
the data industry in general. And I was looking at other people doing or working with cutting edge technology. And I felt like I wanted to do that. I wanted to create apps. I wanted to integrate AI or machine learning solutions to my solutions.
mm,
So that is the leap. That would be a good leap for someone to take. And I would recommend it to someone that is stuck somewhere or feels saturated somewhere and wants to make that leap to implementing machine learning or AI solutions.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Otherwise, I don't think I can recommend it to. Um, yeah, everyone's so different. It's quite hard.
exactly.
But yeah, so I can
And that's
only
that's
take
quite
from.
useful, Sanya. That's quite useful. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have any final comments you'd like to make before we hand over to Daniel? Anything else you'd like to share from your experience? Yeah, the floor is yours.
Just that, yeah, I had a great time doing the course. I know my partner wouldn't say the same. They were like, "You have never time for us," but now they can see that how happy it made me to finally
Mm,
be able to finish that. You know how I always use the example of like video editing. I don't know why, maybe because it's so visual, but
mm,
you see a video that's poorly edited, and then you see a video that's extremely well edited. It has all the swishes and the sounds and the cuts,
mm,
and but that's a huge skill gap for an editor there. Learning to do that takes lots of
yes.
effort. It also like trading, if everybody is so smart, why isn't everybody rich, right? Because trading
Yeah.
is so hard. You have to be at it, and you have to learn so many things. And so if you are passionate about something, I would say learn the hell out of it. Sorry for my language, but yes, learn a lot about it, and then you'll be on the other end where you have the amazing video editing skills, or you're into trading.
Yeah.
And in this case, you're building the machine learning solutions rather than watching someone else do it. So I would say if you have the passion for it, go for it.
Thank you, Sanya. And I must say, like, your metaphors are incredible. Just, just love the way you are able to storytell. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank
We
you so
are
much.
excited to see what you do next. I will keep watching you on LinkedIn, and yeah, we will always keep in touch just to follow your journey. So thank you so much for making time to be with
Thank you
us
so much,
today.
Roslyn. You've been such a
Um,
great support.
you're very welcome. I'm going to hand over to Daniel Cairns, who is the head of enrollments at Fourth Rev. Thank you so much for joining us, Daniel. We are really excited to have you here with us.
It's my
Daniel's going to do a bit
pleasure.
of a program overview, and then we'll open the floor for the questions. Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you, Rosmeen and Sanya. It's been a delight to witness your progress and most inspirational overview today as well. There's probably a question or two that we'll pose to you from the audience as well. But welcome everyone. As Rosmeen said, I'm Daniel, Head of Enrolments here at Fourth Rev, working in true collaboration with Cambridge on this most exciting career accelerator that you've received an overview of. I'm going to provide a quick overview of the actual program as well and the logistics surrounding entry criteria, application process, fees, and payment plans available as well. And I thought I'd just take it back almost to the beginning first and foremost about how we come up with the content and in the partnership with Cambridge. And it's most important because whenever we design a career accelerator, we integrate both the academic rigor that Cambridge is globally renowned for with what it is that employers need. So we bridge that gap between academia and industry by inviting significant employers to the table to tell us what it is they're looking for. And it was resounding with this program in particular that employers were experiencing some degree of frustration surrounding taking on master's graduates and the like with a lot of technical skill, yet without the business application know-how. And that was the biggest point of difference in the program, is to bridge that gap as well, to make it highly technical, but highly business relevant and in demand from an employer perspective. And that's why you've heard it so practical as well. There's no exams because who's going to put an exam in a GitHub portfolio or similar? It just doesn't happen. So the skills that Sanya has mentioned and has demonstrated are in demand from an employer perspective, and that's for the reason of career outcome. Our whole ethos is and our North Star metric is your career outcome. That's how we measure our success, and the content certainly enables that. So as you've seen, also 4 courses over the 7-month period with breaks in between, and usually a break for the festive period, taking it into the 8 months in length. Delivered with a blend of synchronous and asynchronous learning, the live sessions that are held weekly by the Cambridge academics, and then asynchronous learning, meaning you choose when and how the study fits in with your life as opposed to adhering strictly to a university timetable. Then following that, there's the 4 courses. So course 1 been applying statistics and core data science techniques in business. Even in the course title, you can see how rounded it is in relation to it applying to a business scenarios or being applicable to business, not just the technical. Course 2, solving business problems, again, with supervised learning. Course 3, applying advanced data science techniques before your participation in the live industry-facing project at the end. And Senya may have touched on this, I may have missed it, but just to frame that very, very quickly for you, yourself along with 5 or 6 other high caliber peers meet with one of our employer partners who'll present to you a real data related challenge or scenario within their organisation. And as a team, you come up with innovative and tangible solutions, applying the learning that you've gone through for the first 3 courses. So it's very much a practical application of learning in a real world setting. It's brilliant for networking with both more deeply with your peers and also leaders of industry. And it's a much more powerful demonstration of your value to a prospective employer to demonstrate how you have worked on a real industry project or scenario. This is the challenge we were given. This is the solutions and innovations that we came up with. And this is the potential impact it may have on that business, is powerful to demonstrate in an interview. That age-old question that we get, what experience do you have? Well, it gives you that certain the ability to answer that question with a great deal of confidence. Sonia's mentioned also the supports that are in place, the Cambridge academics in the live sessions, the success managers, and the career coaches. Did you touch on the career coaching, Sonia?
Yes, I did. I did mention how they helped me when I was looking for a new job mid the course. So yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. And it's often the next most highest ranked benefit of the program outside of the learning outcomes. It's often not as known coming in the value of the coaching will be during and post the program. So we've extended. We listen to our learners as well. Originally, it was six coaching sessions over the 6 months of the program. Now that's extended until you obtain your nominated outcome. Furthermore, thereafter as well. Applications close on the 20th or beforehand if we do sell out our amount of placements at Cambridge Enable. It's not open to 300 or 400 people. It's open to a group of around 120, and that is to preserve the learner experience. So what I mean by that is um, if we were to open it to many, many more, there'd have to be 15 or 20 learners on a project team, diluting therefore your roles and responsibilities within the team. And of course, we've got academic and coaching capacities in which to do so. We are close to selling out at the moment. The entry criteria is that you have um, completed a minimum of a bachelor degree with a quantitative unit of study previously and have a year's experience in a data aligned role. It doesn't necessarily need to be an analyst or a scientist. It could be a salesperson that looks at sales reports and wrangles data for presentation purposes. It could be a scientific background using data in any number of ways. It doesn't have to be specifically an analyst or a scientist, but an experience with data is applicable. If you don't have a bachelor degree, but you do have many years of relevant experience, that can be considered by Cambridge for entry as well. I'm going to check the questions in a moment and answer any specific ones. Lastly, I'll just touch on the fees and payment plans that are available. So the 8 months, almost 7 months of learning with Cambridge, and that extended coaching offer of up to 18 months of coaching. And all of the tools in which you'll need is £8,395. And if you elect to pay up front, there is a fee reduction of £500 available. We do want to make it accessible to you though. So we do offer interest-free payment plans over either a 6 or 9 month period, or with a finance provider that we have a trusted relationship with in StepX, there is a longer payment plan available to you that is interest-free as well. So £8,395, £500 fee reduction if you elect to pay up front, 6 or 9 monthly payment plans, or a longer 24-month payment plan through a finance application with our provider in StepX as well. Just a reminder, the application process also is quite straightforward. It is a case of uploading your transcripts if needed, or your certification from your undergrad or postgrad, whatever it may be, your resume and an identity document as well. And in the chat, I might see if Sam's able to link the application page. Yes, she has. So Sam's put that in there. Please go ahead and submit your application. The only other requirement, if you haven't done so, is a short discussion with your enrolment advisor, who'll just answer any specific questions you may have that you may not feel comfortable asking in a forum such as this. Confirm your intended payment option and plan, and then process your application with the admissions team to get your letter of offer and get you commencing study on the 27th of October. Okay, let's jump into some questions. Before I do, the one thing I did forget is Python. The Python requirement, there is a requirement to be Python competent in the commencement of the program, and we can support you with that if you either need to brush up or don't have Python skills. The process is the same. You apply, you get a letter of offer, you secure your placement with a 10% deposit, and then we give you access to a custom built Python 60-hour Python program, enabling you to build up your skills in the library such as NumPy, Pandas, and visualization, especially to pass a very short technical test. And I've hosted a webinar on that previously. I might get Sam to pop that latest webinar in that gives you a complete overview of the content and the test. But you've only got time, if you're starting from scratch, you would need to move on that basically today. It's 60 hours before the commencement of the program on the 27th. So you've got 20 hours a week or so to do, which is doable, and you have more than enough Python skills to hit the ground running, to learn data science techniques from day one, rather than learning the basics of Python from day one as well. Some quick questions, and just a reminder, if you've got questions, please pop them in the Q&A. I'll be checking that for questions, not so much the chat function. But Sanya, Anna's got a question here that I thought you'd be best answering. Does this program teach how to work with built data lakes and associated pipelines?
So that would be more ML ops, which is briefly touched upon, but I wouldn't say is taught during the program. As I said, this is more to do with the knowledge of how maths and statistics are then fed into machine learning principles, and then going from building projects in Jupyter notebooks. So if you want to build front-end apps and you want to create that pipeline, that's a very separate operations part of machine learning that you'll have you'll need to know on your own, or learn from somewhere else. So I would say that.
Exactly. Thank you. That's succinct and to the point. It's certainly the data science for business in that regard. But Anna, thank you kindly. And if you have any further questions, always book a time with your enrolment advisor. Amy, thank you for your engagement. What type of applicant is likely to be accepted onto this program in terms of work experience and academic performance? It is aimed at level 7 postgraduate studies. It's a certification from Cambridge PACE, but it is certainly aimed at postgraduate level studies. So as I mentioned in the entry criteria, Amy, someone that has a vision as to what they want to be moving forward and how they want to potentially change up what they currently do. 70% of our learners are looking to change careers using data science skills, and 30% are looking to advance their existing skills through the application of learning to their current role or business. So you're amongst peers there, I dare say. But the type of candidate accepted is one that meets the entry criteria and the discussion with the enrolment advisor. So that would be that you've completed statistical or quantitative units of study previously and have some knowledge of data in business. As I said, a very broad range of exposure to data is acceptable, but and then a commitment to invest in yourself. I think, as Sanya so eloquently articulated today, a commitment to succeed in the program by making the sacrifices that are required, by saying no sometimes to a new Netflix series, for example. You haven't got time for that in the next 7 months. Saying no to drinks on a Friday night occasionally when you've got some work to do. So Amy, that would be it. If you've got more than 5 years of data related experience without a degree, that would be considered as well. So Anonymous has asked here, who is a data science career suited to? Thinking around aptitude, working styles and backgrounds, asking someone with a background in wet lab science but no real CS math credentials. Wet lab science. That's an interesting one. And I think, and I might ask Sanya as well, her thoughts on this, but I think with the way the world is changing, someone much wiser than me said this to me a number of years ago, Daniel, the world has never experienced change this fast, and it will never be this slow again. So I firmly believe that all aspects of business, be it sciences, be it industry, be it all academia, is going through that digital transformation and will require more people with the skills that this program provides. So it is suited to anyone seeking to add a string to their bow to future-proof their careers for the digital economy. Is that a fair summation there, Sanya?
I would agree. I was about to say, because some of the jobs that were quite in demand a few years ago and related to computer science are being, I wouldn't say entirely replaced, but are becoming more efficient, knowing that companies are more and more likely to spend less on those and more on the people who can build systems, which would mean you would need a core knowledge of the subject itself, and you would need more people that know how it works rather than how it is done. So I would say, yeah, it is definitely crucial to know how anything related to AI is built rather than how it's done, because that part might be taken over by systems that can do it per se, like LLMs.
Yeah, well said. That's a really, really good answer to that. And thank you for whoever it was that posted that question. So Anna's got a specific question regarding the difference between this program and one of our other programs in data analytics. Great question, Anna. And I think I often give this analogy. People often look at, well, this is a very basic analogy, but instead of going from nursing to being a surgeon, you have to become a doctor in between. And analytics, I think, is that doctor stepping stone in comparison with analytics, data analytics and data science. But it is dependent on what your intended outcome is, Anna, too. So if you've got the prerequisite skills and willing to learn Python, already know Python, then there's no reason why you wouldn't succeed in this program. If you need analytics, a very basic skills as a stepping stone, then that may be for you. There's a big difference though in terms of the learning outcomes. This is machine learning with Python and AI, very heavily related to that as you've heard today. The other one is analytical, looking back rather than looking forward, I guess is the biggest difference. More so they do touch on Python. There is a unit on Python, although it's not to the same degree as this, obviously. They use SQL and Excel at the start and R as a language as well. So there's quite a difference with the two programs aside from the university they're delivered by as well. But if you're unsure, Anna, and I haven't given you the most articulate answer, it's always best to speak with your enrolment advisor. They'll be able to guide you what's best for you, not what's best for their particular program. They work across both now as well. This is the last intake of the year. And has asked another question. Thanks again for your engagement. The next one, I'm not sure that the date is 100% confirmed. It's likely to be late Jan, early Feb in 2026. But this way you get to finish much, much sooner than doing that one and achieving a much higher wage, hopefully, and achieving a career outcome such as Sanya has as well. Joseph has asked, does career coaching terminate immediately at the conclusion of the program? A great question, and one I'm really, really pleased to answer. Sanya, when did you finish the actual Career Accelerator?
So I finished in July.
July. Are you still going through coaching?
Yeah, I had a chat with Adele last month, and I have another booked soon.
Good to hear. There's the answer, Joseph. But
And I've already got a job, so I don't know. According to my mentor, the best time to find a job is when you have a job. So
that's
I
a
have
great
to.
point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. That's very sage advice. Joseph, good question. But we learned very quickly when we designed the career accelerators and launched to market 5 years ago with LSE, our first partner, that the career coaching was valuable, but it was at its most value post the program, because you're focusing on the program during the program. And when you're job hunting after the program, we didn't have the coaching available. We do now. So we extended it by 6 months post the program. As I said earlier, our whole North Star metric as a company is your career outcomes. And sometimes it's someone wanting to apply the learning to their current role and not achieve a new career at all, or a new job at all. Others, it's a complete shift. So we value what it is that you're striving to achieve, and we'll extend the coaching for another 6 months post if you haven't achieved your intended outcome within 6 months of completing the program. So Joseph, it's potentially up to 12, 18 months in length, and that's when the value lies. So we always try and do more for our learners. Different Amy here has asked, I have a first-class bachelor's degree in psychology, but my dissertation used a qualitative approach. I have my first class and a 2-to-1 in other quantitative modules throughout my degree, but I'm not sure if this is enough to apply for the program. Would you suggest I get further experience as a research assistant with quantitative research to make up for my qualitative dissertation? No, so long as you've done quantitative units, that's fine. And you've obviously in your dissertation handled data a great deal. And I'm not sure if you've had any part-time or other roles adjacent to that as well, Amy. I think you'd be a great candidate for the program. So go ahead. I think why wait, and you'll get a lot of support during the program as well. Joseph, does the Python assessment a prerequisite for admission? Joseph, good question again, and thanks for your engagement. That's a good question because if you have a working knowledge of Python, you don't need to sit the technical assessment. And the technical assessment is an open. You didn't have to do that, did you, Sanya, from memory? Did you?
No Python assessment. I
Yeah.
didn't have to tell that I know Python. I mean, I
Yeah.
wasn't lying or.
No, that's it. And it wouldn't be to your benefit to do so anyway. You'd get found out pretty quickly. So Joseph, no, if you've got Python skills, you don't need to take the technical test. If you need to learn Python skills that as I mentioned, we would support you with, you will need to take that short technical assessment. And just so people are aware, it's an open source test. It's 13 questions, 10 are multiple choice, and 3 are quite basic coding examples in Python. And it's not timed so long as you do it in one sitting. But with that 60 hour, if someone just needs to brush up on Python, you could possibly even do the test straight away and then do some brush up modules. If someone needs to learn Python from scratch, but they've coded in other languages before, you probably pick it up quite quickly. And at the start of the Python course that we can provide you, you can do a little skills matrix and it'll cut it down from 60 hours to 20 or 30 if you've covered some of those areas already. It won't ask you to do them all. But it's quite a straightforward test. Sam has linked the previous webinar I hosted a fortnight ago also as a walkthrough of that. So it gives you full confidence. But I can't stress enough, if you want to go ahead and you want to learn and obtain that free Python course of 60 hours, you need to start it now to join the cohort in October, which is certainly doable, and you'll get a lot of support when doing so. Thanks, Joseph. How many students on the course in total, and how many tutors contact and response time? Good question. So there will be 120 capped in this intake. And how many tutors? So the tutors, there's one per course. So you would have had Dr. Alexia for the first one, Sanya?
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Alexia still hosts the first one, but then the response times come from not only the academics, but also the student support team as well as you engage with each other on the Circle notice board. So you'll notice other learners asking questions. There's a drop-in Q&A where you get them answered live, and they have a service level agreement with you in terms of getting back to you within 24 or 48 hours, I think it is, to answer that. But there's enough engagement during and in between times and even live for you to have those answered much sooner as well. I hope that answers your question. It's a good question. Anna, thank you for your answer about the difference between the two programs. I like nurse surgeon analogy. It was more clear for me which path forward now. That's great, Anna, and good on you and everyone for dedicating your time to discover something about an investment in yourself. And some people might walk away from this and say it's not for me, and that's a great thing insofar as you haven't gone ahead and committed. Others are going to be inspired by Sanya's examples and stories, and by the opportunity and vision you can see for yourself on the horizon of learning most in-demand skills. So Anna, whichever way it's gone, I'm glad that you've invested time in yourself, along with everyone else that's in the audience, to hear from Sanya about what can be achieved. Are there any further payments required or anything on top of the total course fee? Sanya, did you pay another cent after your fees for anything?
Nope.
Good answer. The only thing that you might be out of pocket for, come to think of it, would be the events at Mattingley Hall. And that's transport there and transport back, and that's about it. They're not compulsory, but highly beneficial. And it's great to meet Dr. Ailey and the team from Cambridge Pace. More importantly, it's great to meet your fellow students in person. And I'm not sure if you had it, Sanya, but I know others have organised organically meetups outside of the sanctioned ones, if I can call them that, where you network and discuss application of learning in the real world and things like that. Did you have the opportunity of attending those types of things?
I was invited to two of them. Unfortunately, I was out of station, but we do go to some data science events. So there is Data Science Festival that happens in London, and then because one of our cohort, one of my colleagues, he posts about it on our circle, so we kind of made a group to go together to these events that are data science focused.
I love that. And it is so valuable for learners to, and the more you put in, the more you'll get out. And it's true, be it your learning or be it your networking opportunities with your peers, with the academics, with the industry experts. So the more that you can engage on Circle, the more that you can attend organically organised events such as that, the more that you can attend, obviously, the celebration and networking opportunities that Cambridge put on, the more you'll get out of the program and the greater return on the investment you'll get as well. Amy, good question here. As a part of the application process, will there be an interview? Yes, there is a requirement to speak with an enrolment advisor, and it's more so their opportunity of answering questions that you may have as much as it is that they make sure that everything's ticked off in terms of the application and your English language requirements and the like. So, Amy, yeah, I wouldn't say it's a formal interview. It's more a discussion around you, ensuring that you're the right fit, but also that you're fully understanding of the commitment, and that you meet criteria and that you understand the payment terms and things like that. It is more a discussion, an open discussion, than it is an interview. I'd never say it's an interview, but it is a requirement that you speak with a friendly enrolment advisor. Who was yours, Sanya? Do you remember?
Sorry, I think I have.
Who was your enrolment advisor back when?
I
Was it
don't
Otto?
remember. Ollie?
Otto?
Otto, probably,
Yeah,
yes.
Otto's still with us. He's a dynamo. He's such a lovely person, and he'll take a great deal of empathy at your big decision. It's a big decision to invest in yourself, and he's the best that you could ever hope for. But there's a team of 5 on this program, so you're in good hands with Marika, Haley, Sonia, Tanya, and Otto. I'm not sure I understand this question. We use this in geoscience after learning. We use this in geoscience after learning. Mohammed, I'm not sure of your question there. I guess you might be asking if you're using data science with geoscience. I would suggest so, but I'm not. If you want to rephrase that, I'd be happy to come back to it. Any other final questions? And I'll just talk you through steps from here. And thank you for so many of you sticking around as well. And before we do, say a huge thank you to Sanya. Now's about taking the next step. You've made a decision, you've seen an ad, you've done a search, however you've ended up inquiring about this innovative program with Cambridge Pace has got you to a point where you've received some information and you've taken it a step further by attending today. Now's about the next step, and I want to ask you to think of this in the future context that it is meant to be. If you've heard this question before, I'm sure, but if you had the last year over again, what would you do differently? People ask that question in interviews, and I ask it for goal setting purposes and things like that. If you can picture yourself in 12 months' time asking yourself that question again, if I had my last 12 months over again, what would I do differently? What do you have to do today to ensure the answer to that question is nothing? I achieved a great deal. I followed my dream of studying at Cambridge. I obtained these, amazing skills in data science and AI, and I've got my dream role. Is that the sort of where you want to be in 12 months? It's a way to think about breaking down goals into digestible chunks. You've made a decision to attend today. That's an investment in yourself as well. Congratulations. And last of all, it's about next step. The next step is deciding to apply, to book a time with your enrolment advisor, or to speak with those around you regarding the decision. And when I say those around you, those that would normally watch a Netflix series with you but can't over the next 7 to 8 months because you're going to be busy, or those that will be inspired by your acceptance onto a program such as that with Cambridge and how proud they'll be of mum and dad investing in themselves and for the betterment of the family. It gives me great pleasure to not only hope to provide you a forum in which you feel open and able to ask questions that are relevant to yourself. You'll also get that with your enrolment advisors. So get one of the last remaining placements available. let's start off 2026, even though you'll be well into course 2 by then, on the right foot, and you'll be a data scientist mid-year. Lastly, it gives me always great pleasure to thank Sam in the background, who puts these events together, Rosmeen, who did an amazing job of hosting, and our very, very special guest today, Sanya. Thank you ever so kindly. Your outcomes, your diligence throughout the program, and your future outcomes are an inspiration to all.
Thank you so much for having me.
Our absolute pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. We look forward to supporting you during your studies, and most of all, as we do with Sanya, celebrating your career outcomes. Have a great day.